We're back for our daily NBA best bets here on Saturday, January 10th. We've got 6 games today in the National Basketball Association, and obviously we're going to be covering 5 of those with our best bets. The one game I'm not doing, actually the early morning game on Prime between the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Cleveland Cavaliers. I just don't like anything in that game. I think the other 5 games are better to bet on, and the player prop specifically I like more than the other ones. If you want to bet for Timberwolves versus Cavs, I would probably go Timberwolves money line. It's just with the uncertainty around Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle as they're both questionable tonight or this morning, I don't want to touch it because as of recording at 1 a.m., I don't know if either Edwards or Randle are going to play. I'll stay away from that. Anyways, we've still got 5 best bets for the 5 remaining games. And folks, before we get into the video, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for some more daily NBA best bets here on the channel. Earlier today, we posted our college basketball best bets, so go make sure to check out that video if you have not yet. Also on the channel are NFL predictions, best player props, and best bets, getting you ready for Wild Card Weekend that starts today. So go make sure to check out our content over there. And on Greedo Plays MMA, we did a full UFC 2026 futures video over there. That is linked in the description down below. It talked about all the future champions potentially in 2026. So go check out that video on Greedo Plays MMA if you have not yet. Okay, on to the first now of our 5 best bets today for the NBA. Kicking things off in Indianapolis, Indiana. You know, the state of Indiana is going crazy right now, not because of anything basketball related. Well, the Hoosiers played Nebraska early today. I stayed away from that betting wise because the Hoosiers are a 4.5 point favorite at home against the undefeated Cornhuskers, but we're going Johnny Furphy over. You know, again, the entire state's pumped up. The Indiana Hoosiers in 2025 and 2026 have the greatest college football team of all time, and they're going to decimate Miami in the national championship game. And here's a preview in basketball, right? The Miami Heat versus the Indiana Pacers. Yeah. Anyways, Johnny Furphy over 5.5 points. I know this is so random. I completely understand taking the Aussie who played college ball at Kansas. Johnny Furphy is the most random pick you're ever going to see. I'll tell you this. I believe Johnny Furphy is going to continue to see more and more minutes for the Pacers. And, you know, is that a result of injury? Potentially, yes. But Furphy was the guy who was part of that big, injured, a conglomeration at the beginning of the season for the Pacers. Obviously, there's still a bunch of injuries still left for Indiana. As shout out to Rick Carlisle, finally got win 1,000 for just all time, but finally got it the other day against the Hornets. Good on him. But I'm taking Johnny Furphy today over 5.5 points. We've seen a boost in minutes for Furphy over the last couple games. He's just been given a lot more opportunity on this Pacers team. And that is, again, part of that is the Benedict Mathurin injury. But on top of that as well, it's just, okay, Furphy's finally getting a chance to finally shine. I mean, this is a player last year who barely played, obviously, in his rookie year because he was 20 years old. He's 21 now. Furphy, I think, is a part of this long-term future for Indiana. And Furphy in their last game against Charlotte on the road gets to finally play a big amount of minutes. I mean, Furphy goes out there and plays 26 minutes and starts for Indiana. After playing 31 2 nights prior to that against the Cavs, Furphy's finally getting consistent run as a starter on the Pacers. And guys, if he's playing 31 and 26 minutes like he has in the last 2 games against the Cavaliers and against the Charlotte Hornets, yeah, Furphy's going to find ways to score at least 6 points. And Furphy's been stuffing the stat sheet, not going to lie. Again, against Cleveland, 9 points, 11 boards. Against Charlotte, 7 points, 6 boards. But Johnny Furphy scoring-wise is going to continue to get more and more opportunities. A lot of his opportunities will come from the three-point line, but this is an aggressive finisher, an aggressive, contact finisher. Obviously, if you've seen the finished over Noah Esenge in the Summer League, and what a poster that Furphy put on him earlier in the summer, or I guess last summer. But regardless, Furphy is not afraid to attack the rim, attack the hole, and as well, he can shoot. Again, it's the part of his game that's going to continue to progress and continue to develop. But Furphy is going to be a very good player, I think, for quite a bit for Indiana. And you can look at his, total points per game average so far this season. It's 5 points per game. Again, though, Furphy had so many games so far this season where he's barely gotten the court. Again, he's got his fair share of, maybe 20-minute nights, but now fully starting and playing anywhere from 25 to 30 plus minutes. Yeah, Furphy's going to be on the court for, at least enough time to score 6 points. I truly believe this is a line where if Furphy keeps starting, which again, for now he's going to with the Mathurin injury, this is going to be a line that we see continue to go up, and we're never going to get it at 5.5 ever again once Furphy starts to really find his groove for Indiana. And again, a lot of this is product of injuries. Obviously, Halliburton and Nembhard's hurt right now. We'll see if he plays today. But obviously, Halliburton being out doesn't really change Furphy's minutes, but Obi Toppin does. Toppin's still out for a couple more weeks/months. Benedict Mathurin, I think, out for a couple more weeks, maybe even up to a month. Isaiah Jackson doesn't do the same thing that Johnny Furphy does, but another rotational piece who is still out with that concussion. It allows a lot of spot and a lot of time for Johnny Furphy to continue to play. And obviously, this is Siakam's team currently, and everything, I keep saying this, everything the Pacers do in 2025 and 2026 is building to that next title team next year, potential title run team next season, obviously, hopefully with AJ DeBunsta in the lineup as well. But I mean, Johnny Furphy, they're going to continue to see what they have with him, and starting the last 2 games has been huge for Furphy, starting alongside Aaron Nesmith, Quentin Jackson, Jay Huff, and Pascal Siakam. Again, that's without Nembhard. We'll see if Nembhard plays today. He currently is listed as questionable. But I think Johnny Furphy, being allotted 30 minutes, should find a way to score 6 points. He has done it, in all fairness, barely done it in his last 2 outings, but 9 points and 7 points. I think Furphy's got to go over today. I'm going to go over 5.5 points at -120 for the second-year man out of Kansas by way of Australia. Give me the Aussie, Johnny Furphy, over 5.5 points. Trust me, this is not going to be a line I think Furphy's going to be stuck on for a while. And again, if you're Indiana, you need to continue to see Furphy for an extended period of time, because you really need to know if he's going to be a key rotational piece next year coming off the bench for likely your next playoff team next season with obviously a top pick, hopefully DeBonsta, with Halliburton and potentially another big free agent. Give me Furphy tonight over 5.5 points at home against the Miami Heat. On now to our second best bet of the video. We're going to go immediately to our next player prop, and we're going to look at over 2.5 3-pointers for the Claw, Kawhi Leonard. Give me Kawhi to go over 2.5 threes. It's not a big ask for Kawhi. This is a player who has been shooting the 3-point ball fairly well this year. And just the volume with Kawhi Leonard in terms of 3-point shots has been there all year long. You look at the last 2 games for Kawhi against Brooklyn and against New York. 3 of 7 from the 3-point line against the Knicks, 4 of 7 from the 3-point line yesterday against Brooklyn. Normally, this would be somewhat of a concern with Kawhi Leonard, at least in this spot today, because, well, the Clippers just played yesterday. They beat Brooklyn on the road 121-125, and now immediately they're going from Brooklyn, New York, all the way over to Detroit, Michigan, to take on the current number 1 seeded Detroit Pistons, obviously, in the Eastern Conference. But we've spoken on this quite a bit this season. The Clippers are in a position where they are in the standings in the hole they dug themselves in at the beginning of the year. They need to win as many games as possible. The Clippers now, by the way, only 1.5 games out of the play-in. Memphis loses yesterday in a come-from-behind effort from the OKC Thunder. So Memphis' L and the Clippers' win yesterday only puts the Clippers a 1.5 games back for that final play-in spot. And if they get in the play-in, I have a feeling they're going to find their way into the postseason, likely losing to either San Antonio or Oklahoma City in the first round, likely Oklahoma City. But anyways, that's neither here or there. They don't have their pick. Ty Lue has put the challenge out to his team to go out there and win games and find a way to get yourself in the play-in and potentially the playoffs, and that's exactly what the team has done for Tyronn Lue. So as for the Clippers, again, they're stuck in a position where they have to play their guys big minutes. Because of the injuries you already have to Bradley Beal, Derek Jones, and Bogdan Bogdanovic, you have to play Kawhi Leonard and James Harden extended minutes, even though they're old. We talk about it all the time. It's an unction over in LA, and obviously it's less of an unction with Chris Paul. By the way, what's happening to CP3? Technically, Chris Paul is still on the roster. They just sent him home. He's still technically a member of the Clippers. What's happening with that? Like, he's still getting paid by the LA Clippers. I don't know. Is someone going to trade for him? Who knows? Regardless of all that, though, right? You look at this Clippers team. They're playing Kawhi big minutes every single night. They're playing James Harden big minutes every single night. And right now it's winning. And we've been talking about that. It's working. Eventually, and I hate to say it, but this is just the problem with playing a 34-year-old Kawhi Leonard who's always been injury prone, and James Harden, the way that they've been playing them and the minutes in which they've been playing them. Harden's 36. Eventually, somebody's going to get hurt. And I hate to say it, but it's the truth. Someone's going to get hurt, and then you're going to dig yourselves even further into a hole. But it's unfortunately a type of win now move you need to go through right now in January because, well, it's working. I mean, since they've really, since Ty Lue said we need to win X amount of games in X amount of time, the Clippers have won all but 2 games in the span of 3 weeks. Their only losses are to Boston at home and then just most recently on Wednesday at the Garden against the Knicks. This is a team that has continuously won, and for now, again, we're going to continue to ride with it. How is this team, though, going to look in February? How are they going to look in March? And most concerning, how are they going to look in April? That's what happens when you just have a very old rotation. And I'm not going to completely go at Lou's rotation right now, and the fact that, young players that can benefit them aren't really seeing the court that much. Like Yannick Niederhauser's minutes are just gone, and I understand why, because of Brook Lopez playing well. But Batum's coming off your bench, who I understand is playing well too. You just have no youth on your team except for Kobe Sanders, who was the 50th overall pick in the draft last year, coming over from UNR. So regardless of all that, though, we can still take advantage of this with Kawhi Leonard. We only need 3 threes tonight at Kawhi. And this is a player that is shooting threes at, a higher, I wouldn't say, he's shooting threes at a higher volume than we've ever seen Kawhi Leonard shoot threes. I mean, there are legitimate games where we see Kawhi Leonard shoot 10 3-pointers per game. So far in the month of January, he's only shooting 28% from 3, yet in 3 out of the 5 games, he's gone over this line. And again, it's all about volume and it's all about opportunity. Kawhi Leonard plays 40 minutes per night, and he's going to get 3-point shots. By the way, he only played 28 last night against Brooklyn. So it means he should be, regardless, the Clippers are going to play him, either way. They're done are the days where they have to load manage Kawhi. They need to find a way. Ballmer and Lou need to find ways to get in the playoffs right now. So they're going to play Kawhi on back-to-backs regardless of how he feels. But they got to take him off his feet a little bit yesterday. Only 28 minutes compared to the 40 he usually plays. That's big time. And they are playing Detroit today, which should be a big game. I think the Pistons probably win, especially with the Clippers coming off the second night of a back-to-back and all this travel. But it's a game the Clippers are obviously going to try to win and should be a competitive game. You look at what Kawhi's done so far in the month of January. He was hot coming out of 2025 in December, having back-to-back 5 3-point nights against the Pistons and against the Kings. Obviously, again, right, the Clippers won the last game against Detroit, where Cade had 3 fouls in the first quarter, and the Clippers kind of just ran away with it. But to start 2026, Kawhi 6 for 16 from the 3-point line against the Jazz, 2 for 8 against the Celtics. But again, the volume, 16 threes against Utah, 8 threes against Boston, 0 of 8 against the Warriors. But again, he shoots 8 threes, a game that the Clippers actually still won. But it's all about volume, and it's all about potential. Knicks game, 3 for 7. We'll take it. We just need 3. Nets game, 4 for 7. Again, we shall take it. Kawhi Leonard's been shooting the 3-point ball at a 36.5% rate. I said percent twice, but you get the gist. That's okay. We just need the volume tonight out of Kawhi. He's probably going to shoot about 10 3-pointers, in my opinion, in a game in which I believe the Clippers should probably be trailing, again, with injuries still nagging. Obviously, you still don't have Bogdanovic. Derek Jones out for an extended period of time. Yes, Kobe Sanders has been great for you coming off the bench recently, but Kawhi Leonard's still a massive part of this team, and I believe Kawhi is going to go over 2.5 threes tonight in Detroit against the Pistons. On to our third best bet of the video, closing the video out with only money lines and spreads now to our first one. Boston Celtics money line at home against the San Antonio Spurs, -110 for, again, the favorites, in my opinion, and my pick to win the Eastern Conference in the Celtics. A late night spot in Boston, 8 o'clock game over at the Boston Garden for this one. We'll see who plays for San Antonio, and ultimately, that's why I'm looking at this, right? Yesterday, a win for Boston. They do what they're supposed to do. Peyton Pritchard, we had the over 16.5 points. He ends up scoring 28, makes up for the Luka performance last night. Oh, that was great. There's a reason we don't pick Lakers spread or money line anymore, because of stupid games like that. That team pisses me off, and Miles Turner does nothing but hit a 3-pointer late in the game. That game sucked. Anyways, the Celtics beat the Raptors yesterday, and what does Peyton Pritchard do? Again, dominate, scores 28 points, may have gotten dunked on, but who cares? Pritchard still scores 28. I thought it was 20. Was it 27 or 28? I thought it was 28. ESPN's saying it's 27. Anyways, he goes over. It does not matter. What a game for Boston. They continue to find ways to win. I know this rotation is kind of short, I understand, but trust me, when Tatum comes back and when they go out and add guys at the trade deadline, this Boston team's going to be nasty. However, they should beat San Antonio tonight. A San Antonio team who I don't know who's going to play, considering, they just played 3 nights ago. They beat the Lakers. Wemby's still in a minutes restriction. That's the report. Wemby's still not going to play extended minutes. Will he start? Who knows? Again, they're going back and forth with, will they start Cornette? Will they not start Wembanyama? Wemby's going to play a fair amount of minutes in this game regardless, but I don't think he's going to play. I don't think he's played more than 25. He's going to play the clutch minutes is what I should have said, and he probably will start. He didn't start the Lakers game, so I still don't know what they're doing. Again, they're going back to the Wemby off the bench thing. I know, again, the injuries. San Antonio's really trying to be cautious with Wembanyama, obviously, so we'll see who starts between him and Cornette. Obviously, we know Wembanyama is going to play the clutch minutes, but if Wemby is truly restricted to 26 minutes, that does change some things. On top of that as well, San Antonio is dealing with injuries, again, beyond just Wembanyama. You got Devin Vassell out for this game, if I'm not mistaken. Is that official? Yes, it is. Vassell out with a left adductor strain, and then Julian Champagnie questionable in this game with mid-back soreness. So we'll see about Champagnie, but obviously no Devin Vassell, and that is a massive score for San Antonio. I keep telling you, Boston is super underrated this season. And trust me, they'll be even better once they get their guys back and once they trade for an actual center. I don't know if that's Ivica Zubac. I don't know who that's going to be. But once they get a center, and I like Neemias Queta, but Neemias Queta is likely not a starting center on an Eastern Conference winning team. Get a guy like Zubac or literally any center. I don't know. Nurkic? I could see it, honestly. Regardless of who that is, I need Boston to get a center so our Celtics Eastern Conference champions ticket can pay out in a couple months. Regardless, though, this Boston team is finding ways to win. I know it's the second night of a back-to-back. I don't care. They're still at home. If you can get nights out of Peyton Pritchard like he just had, phenomenal stuff. Pritchard, 27 points on 12 of 19 shooting from 3 for 5 from beyond the arc. How about Sam Hauser, man? I mean, they're getting production out of Sam Hauser, Jordan Walsh, who's kind of taking a step back to Hauser, and that's okay because look what Sam Hauser's doing, man. Yesterday, Sam Hauser goes 5 for 7 from beyond the arc, 7 for 10 from the field, and 19 points out of Sam Hauser. They're getting that production. I mean, we haven't seen production out of Sam Hauser ever in his NBA career like that. He's been on Boston, obviously, for years. He's never done that. He's had some stretches, but my goodness, 28 years old, Sam Hauser playing like that. They're getting production, massive production off the bench out of Anfernee Simons, who's averaging 14 points per game, puts up 15 last night. He's been such a productive piece off this bench for Boston. And then again, how about Jaylen Brown? A player that should be very involved in the MVP race. We know who the MVP is going to. It's going to Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. However, Jaylen Brown this season with no Jason Tatum, Boston needed Jaylen Brown to step up to the plate. And I keep talking about Boston win the East. Celtics going to the finals this year. They're not going to win the finals, but I keep talking about it, right? Boston getting to that spot. None of that would be possible without Jaylen Brown. I'm not saying like in the playoffs. Obviously, Brown's going to make a big difference as well, but the only reason we're talking about this with Boston is because of what Brown has done. And yes, you can give a lot of credit to Pritchard, you give a lot of credit to Derek White, Anfernee Simons off the bench, Hauser, Jordan Walsh, Neemias Queta. You can give credit to all these guys. But Jaylen Brown's been their star, and Jaylen Brown is averaging the fifth highest points in all basketball this season, fifth most points in all basketball this season, without Tatum on the court. Huge. And now when Tatum comes back, that just makes them all that much more nasty. And when Mazzulla and the Celtics finally decided to buy at the deadline, oh man, this was supposed to be a bridge year for the Celtics, and they're going to wind up winning the East. I really don't think that New York or Detroit or Philadelphia, or definitely not Toronto or Cleveland, can beat this team in a 7-game series. It's very important Boston, by the way, gets the 2 seed, because I think Detroit's going to take themselves out in the second round. I have a feeling Philly's going to get them in the second round. Legitimately, a postseason Philly team, I think probably beats Detroit. So regardless of all that, though, or a Cleveland team might be able to get, probably not. Philly's the team that probably gets the Pistons in the second round. Anyways, I'm taking the Celtics here. I'm taking Boston to beat San Antonio, a short man San Antonio team. Wembanyama still in a minutes restriction. We'll see if he starts or not. Again, he'll play the clutch minutes, we know. Devin Vassell out, potentially Champagnie out. I'm not telling you Boston beats San Antonio in a 7-game series, but I believe they win this one game. On top of that as well, games at home for Boston. I believe they should be able to get it done. I'm taking Jaylen Brown, Peyton Pritchard, Derek White, and the Boston Celtics to win this basketball game at home against the San Antonio Spurs. -110 for Boston at home to get it done. On now to our 4th best bet of the video. Sticking with more money line plays, we go to the Chicago Bulls at home. I know it's -140, but we're going to have to settle. Boston, if you want the 2.5, take it. Chicago Bulls -140 at home at the United Center against the Dallas Mavericks. Hopefully the game is actually played. That's all I'll say. Hopefully the game is actually played. What is this compressed ass image that ESPN has? Guys, check this out. This is something. Hold on. What is this compressed ass image that ESPN has on just the Bulls page? This is unbelievable. Just check this out. What is this? Oh, that's nice. You're looking at a blank screen right there. What is this? Why is Bam Adebayo compressed like that? But that's the point I was going to make. Okay. Here, I guess I have a camera here. That was the point I was going to make. Bulls and Heat postponed the other day due to condensation on the court. I just wanted to show that because of the Bam Adebayo picture. I didn't really need to show you that because of the condensation. I just found that hilarious. Anyways, yeah, that happens in the Bulls' last scheduled game at home in Chicago at the United Center. Condensation on the court. The game is canceled due to weather. Postponed due to weather. I assume they're just going to make that up. I actually don't know when they're gonna make that up. I assume, likely, I don't know, when the Heat probably go to Milwaukee next. They're probably gonna have to stop for one day and play a back-to-back and play in Chicago. I assume something like that. Regardless of that, yeah, weird stuff going on. Hopefully the court is playable and the arena is playable tonight for Chicago at home. They are on a 3-game losing streak, losing to Charlotte, Boston, and Detroit. I think they bounce back tonight with a win over the Dallas Mavericks, a Mavericks team that just went to Utah the other night and lost, but on top of that, lost Anthony Davis. Guys, I don't think anybody thought watching that injury that Davis, when Davis is guarding Lauri Markkanen, I think nobody thought watching that live, and at least, regardless if you watched it live or not, just watching the video or watching the clip, no way you would have thought AD, had ligament damage in his left hand and would be out multiple months. But here we are. AD's probably going to need surgery, probably not going to be back until March, April for the playoffs. And where will Dallas be at that point? Probably still a play-in team, but I don't know. They're not even in the plan right now with Davis. And now they're talking about Kyrie probably not being back. Yeah, it looks like the Mavs are going to end up back in the lottery. And, whatever. Adam Silver is going to continue to assemble his super teams, both in Dallas and San Antonio. So watch. The Mavs are going to end up with the top pick, aren't they? Oh, my goodness. They're not going to give him, DeBon stuff, but they're going to give this team, Darren Peterson. Just watch. I'm so serious. They're going to put Darren Peterson on this team, and it's going to be a joke. The Mavericks randomly, they're going to have a 1% chance to get the number 1 pick. Oh, they did it again. Oh, they got the 2 pick this year. Oh, wow. Big shocker. Just like how we rigged it for the Spurs in multiple seasons. Whatever. Guys, there's a reason why the Charlotte Hornets or the Utah Jazz or the Washington Wizards never win the lottery, okay? There's a reason these small market teams that continue to suck and tank never win the lotto every single year. There's a reason for that, okay? Anyways, that's why I generally think the Pacers are going to end up with the number 1 pick, because that's the team that actually tries to win and is just tanking this year because of injury. They're going to reward them with the number 1 pick. We know the draft lottery is rigged. You know it. I know it. LeBron James has said it. Everyone knows the draft lottery is the most rigged thing in sports. It's probably rigged in baseball too, but I'm not going to complain because the Nationals have done very well in the draft lottery in the past. So I'm not complaining there. It's totally not rigged in the MLB. It's probably not actually, though, because they have the whole anti-tanking thing where you can't get back-to-back number 1 picks, where if that was the case, the Nationals would have had the number 1 pick in 3 straight seasons. I'm not joking. They would have won the lottery 3 straight years in a row because they still keep the lottery balls in the MLB if you are disqualified. Anyways, random side note. Chicago versus Dallas tonight. Yeah, so Anthony Davis is out. Probably out for the rest of the season. Let's just be honest. I just don't know, man. I'm not denying it's a real injury. Obviously, it's a real injury, but no way that did it. That causes ligament damage in your hand. And he's out multiple months. Markkanen was looking at him after the play you really hurt off of that? Man, something about AD, dude. And I know Luka's not playing his best basketball right now, but, he's still averaging 35 points per game. He's just not the most efficient last night. Ugh, man. But, yeah, what a trade for the Mavericks. What a trade. So no AD tonight. Lively's out, obviously, for an extended period of time. Likely no Kyrie this season. Hell, Dante Exum's out for the season. No Brandon Williams tonight. No PJ Washington tonight. Yeah, give me Chicago quite easily. Cooper Flagg is still playing, which is cool. Cooper Flagg's playing really well. The numbers he's continuing to put up this season is pretty damn great, obviously, for a rookie, and it's, pretty expected. They've moved Ryan Nembhard back to the bench, and ESPN will still try to tell you RJ Nembhard is on the Mavericks and not Ryan Nembhard. Again, multi-million-dollar company, actually a billion-dollar company, obviously funded by Disney. Still can't get that right. It's Ryan Nembhard, not RJ Nembhard. If you still look at the Mavericks depth chart on ESPN, they still get that wrong. But the Mavs have gone back to Cooper Flagg at the 1. They went back to Flagg at the 1, so he got Christie, Marshall, Gadford, and Davis. I assume with Davis out of the lineup, they're probably actually going to go back to Nembhard at the 1 because you kind of have to. It's just all a mess in Dallas, man. AD just street clothes again. It sucks, man, because I like Anthony Davis, obviously. I have AD's jersey. Very grateful for what he did for the Lakers, winning, helping the Lakers win a championship in 2020 in the bubble. It just sucks, man, the way his career is going. He's a phenomenal player. He's a phenomenal player when he's on the court, but it's just injury after injury after injury. You saw it in his first ever game as a Maverick, he got injured. And now he's out again with an injury that didn't even look that bad, but obviously it is bad. AD, guys, in 2 seasons might legitimately only play 29 games for the Dallas Mavericks. Played 9 last year and I guess 1 in the play-in, and then 20 this year. Or they played 2 did they get 2 games in the play-in last year? I think they did, right? Yeah, because they lost to Memphis in the second one because they beat Sacramento. 31 games for AD as a Maverick. He's getting traded in the offseason, especially because the NBA is going to rig the lottery for the Mavs too. So, I don't know, man. I'm going to go Bulls tonight. I know the Bulls are without Josh Giddey. I still don't care. Giddey's obviously their best player, and we'll see with their injuries. Zach Collins out, Jalen Smith out. still, the Mavs are completely short-staffed tonight. Chicago should be fine. Vooch and company, Kobe White should be able to win this game. It should be kind of ugly, honestly, but Mavs are on this road trip, and I think Chicago gets it done. I think, again, this has been the road trip from hell for Dallas so far. You almost lose to the Kings, then you lose to Utah. Now you got to go play Chicago. Same high-paced game. The court might be slippery due to condensation. Yeah, give me Chicago to win the basketball game at minus 140. Final best bet of the video, the team you don't want to run into, the Utah Jazz. Kind of crazy the line's at this, +5, really? We're getting 5 points on Utah here. Yeah, I'll sign up for that one. Utah +5 against Charlotte, absolutely. The Charlotte Hornets have played better basketball. And ever since we picked Charlotte to beat the Toronto Raptors and Emmanuel quickly hit a game-winning 3 in Charlotte, the Hornets have lost back-to-back. Losing at home, obviously, to Toronto in that game, and then losing the next game to the lowly Indiana Pacers in Rick Carlisle's 1,000th victory. So Charlotte, after winning back-to-back games in Chicago and in OKC over the Thunder, and a blowout over the Thunder with the starters SGA, J-Dub, Chet playing, Charlotte has proceeded to absolutely not capitalize on that momentum and dropping back-to-back games to teams that one team they should have easily beaten, and another team that they played well. Obviously, LaMelo had the game-winning shot and then quickly just one-upped them. It is what it is. You should have beat the Pacers, though. I don't know what else to say about that. You should have won that Indiana game. I don't trust this team to cover 5 points on the road. Definitely not. I do not trust this team to cover 5 on the road. Will they win? Maybe, but I don't know beyond that. Charlotte does get Ryan Kalkbrenner back today, the rookie center out of Creighton. Will Kalkbrenner start? I gotta think so. I know he's been out for a little bit, but I believe Kalkbrenner is gonna have to start. And LaMelo is playing better ever since we've kind of just said, Con Knuppel is the future of this team and is the best player on this team. LaMelo has been balling out. Brandon Miller got ejected in their last game. LaMelo was coming off the bench, then LaMelo obviously still playing big minutes. Comes off the bench, drops 33 points in 27 minutes, 7 for 15 from beyond the arc. Miller gets ejected, so LaMelo's got to do more of the work. Knuppel has an all right game, but it's a lot of Melo ball. And obviously now with Kalkbrenner back, we reform the Kalk and Ball connection. The Hornets have got you with Kalk and Ball torture down low. Okay, I'll stop. Taking Utah here, though. Taking Utah against a Charlotte team where, I just think the Jazz are such a difficult test. We say this all the time. This is one of the teams you just don't want to run into because they just run all game long. Now, again, when you always bet the Jazz, and I still don't know, how is there not, a federal investigation about this? The FBI just did their investigation and did their process, obviously, with Chauncey Billups and with Terry Rozier. Can someone investigate, the Jazz's front office? I'm not going to go after Will Hardy. I think Will Hardy does everything he can with his team, and I think if it was up to him, he'd try to win every single game. I believe it's the front office in Utah, and it's the same owner, I believe, that owns the Utah Mammoth, and the Mammoth are kind of in the midst of a playoff race right now. I mean, the Pacific Division is just a whole scramble right now. But regardless, I think he's more focused on what the Mammoth are doing, and they're playing great hockey this year. I mean, they've been good this year. Shout out to Clayton Keller and those guys. But regardless, what's going on with the Jazz, man? I feel like this is a constant thing. I talk about this all the time with Utah. I would hate to be a fan of this team. Guys, there's more crap going on tonight with the Jazz. So they finally win a game, which is not what they want to do. The Jazz don't want to win. They beat Dallas, and what happens, Markkanen drops 33 points 2 nights ago. How do they get rewarded? Markkanen the last 4 games have dropped 35, 22, 29, 33. How does he get rewarded? Yeah, pal, we're going to rest you tonight. Why? Because they want to lose. How is there not a federal investigation on the Utah Jazz? I'd hate being a fan. I'm sure if I'm a Utah fan, I want to tank for a pick. But you're 2 games out the play-in, and this is the most obvious rigging of L's ever. But don't tell it to the players. And don't tell it to Will Hardy. Because I'm telling you, the players that actually play are trying their ass off. And that, I think, further motivates them. So again, I was telling you this every single time I bet a Jazz game. Wait for the injury report. Markkanen's not playing due to rest. Ace Bailey's got this hip injury, which I don't even know if it's real or not. For now, Keontae George is playing. For now, Bryce Sensabaugh is playing. For now, Yusef Nurkic is playing. We have to see who gets ruled out before. So if those guys do get ruled out, the most likely one is Nurk. So then we got to watch Filipowski all game long. I still think we're fine. Guys, I don't expect Charlotte to be able to run all game long with the Jazz. And if they do, okay, maybe they'll win, but are they going to cover 5 points? I don't think so. Because, again, it's a Charlotte team that has the same record as Utah. And you're asking them to go on the road and cover against this Jazz team. And sure, again, both of the Jazz's main bigs are out. Obviously, Walker Kessler, I'm not denying that injury. That injury is obviously very real. Kessler out for the season. Lauri Markkanen now out this game randomly just because, we're going to rest him. Still, though, I think Utah can keep this game close, and that has a lot to do with Keontae George and a lot with Bryce Sensabaugh, too, in the way he's been playing recently. But obviously, Keontae George has been a premier player in the league this season, 22 years old, averaging 24 and 7 per game. He's been phenomenal, and he's honestly actually been even better with Markkanen off the court. So I'd expect a huge night out of Keontae George. And again, the front office is going to be mad. They're going to be so tight in this game with Charlotte, but I think they're going to find a way to cover. Again, the reason for tanking is beyond just the fact that they tank every single year. If their pick finishes outside of the top 8, then it does go to the Oklahoma City Thunder, and there's no further protection on this pick post this year. So just putting that out there, that's why they want to tank and lose. I feel like something needs to be done about this crap, though. But don't tell it to Keontae George. Don't tell that to Will Hardy. The Jazz are still trying to find ways to win. Hell, they did it a couple games ago on New Year's Day in LA or in Inglewood against the Clippers with Kyle Anderson dropping 20 points, who hasn't played since that game and hadn't played in 15 games prior to that. Don't tell the Jazz players they're trying to lose. That's just up to the front office. I still commend the guys on Utah for giving it their all. I'm going Jazz +5 at home. I don't think Charlotte's that much better than them to run in Utah at elevation all game long. Utah +5 at home against the Charlotte Hornets. Folks, thank y'all for watching our NBA Best Bets here on January 10th. If you have not yet, though, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more. Make sure to leave a like if you did enjoy the video. Make sure to comment if you do screw thing the picks. We'll be back tomorrow for more daily NBA Best Bets. Folks, thank y'all for watching, and Mamba forever.